something to roadmap, please write it on Slack, and we will push it, or you can push it. Yeah. So this is the first thing I want to show you on this meeting. Another thing is that I've been preparing for last, I think, 2 months, standard terms document, and this is it. We had here some conversation. Ken had few comments, and Jake Cooper. We defined in here the basic terms of OpenSLO dictionary, I think. And the most important thing, I think, in here is composite SLO. So this document, we introduced it because we want to add composite SLO to OpenSLO, and there wasn't agreement what it is. So right now, I think there are no too many, we don't have any complaints about this definition, so we can push another thing further. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have, guys, any comments on this one?
This is fantastic. I'm going to start linking this from lots of places where I need to kind of come up with a standard reference of these terms. And so this is really great.
Yeah, nice. If you see there's something missing, or I don't know,
so
you would like to
a really petty nitpick, but if it would be possible to use headers maybe 3 or 4 hashes on the items, then you can deep link or permalink directly to a definition, which sometimes helps if you're trying to really drive somebody to an exact definition that you're talking about. So in that text over there, it's just paragraphs, and it'll be good to maybe put each one under a separate header so that we can permalink. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, good idea, because you can link exactly.
Yeah, so I'll add them. Thanks for that. Yeah, and this is, I think, it's first iteration. We can add more definitions as we will grow and find need for it. Yeah. And another thing is composite SLO. So as I said, we define it in standard terms document, and here is my pull request that introduces it to the spec. I think when I created it, we didn't have concept of V2 alpha or something like that. So maybe we'll put it in another version of API or not, as we decide. And the biggest improvement of this this one are how we should calculate each way of calculating error budget, like how composite SLO should understand it, how it should behave. It's still a work in progress, so if you feel like it isn't quite right, feel free to comment in here.
Yeah, we had clear discussion about composite SLO, about something like aggregated SLO, because making SLOs of SLOs can be understand in different way, and what we decided to just push this discussion to the GitHub, to the issues, to have it write it down. And as the first iteration, having just basic composite SLO, and maybe later thinking about more sophisticated use cases and introduce this aggregated SLO or other name that makes sense. So yeah, this is the officially first iteration of it on let's say on paper.
Yep. In the standard terms document, I even tried to add aggregate SLO, but we didn't have like agreement and clear understanding how it will differ from composite. So I guess we don't have like clear need for another kind like like aggregate SLO.
So I'm coming to this like super fresh. So excuse the stupid questions. With the composites calculations, are you allowed to mix like time and occurrence based, or is it do they all have to be one or all the other, or is that something that can be done?
So my initial idea was that like if you are defining composite SLO, all of like SLOs beneath are in one type of
that's much clearer to me to understand.
Yeah, maybe I should add that like
because that's you know, for my company, we only do occurrence based, mainly because it gives us the roll up of everything as occurrence, you know, so we can keep rolling up. I did a talk at SLO Conf last year about that, but because it's all occurrence based, it's much easier to do. But if you had to mix time in that, it would be difficult.
Yeah.
But this we don't use weights ourselves, but like the explanation of weights is perfectly reasonable as well from what I can see. It looks great.
Yeah, but I like your comment that can we mix them? Yeah, I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't sort of fit in my brain to mix them. So, but it's good to kind of be explicit about that.
Yeah, I think like mixing them would be really hard. Like, how do you understand time slices and occurrences?
Yeah, it wouldn't really make sense. I mean, you could probably do the math somehow, but it's not like it doesn't sort of feel right. But yeah.
Yep. So if you've got some time, please review it if you can, and we will push it. I hope in the next meeting it will be closed and already in spec. So yeah. And from my items from my agenda, that's all. What do we have in here? We've got a review of last action items. So we closed dictionary, or we will close after the meeting. I will merge it after adding your idea. And did we work on this JSON schema on OpenSLO site?
We worked on the domain, that we took ownership of the domain, so we can easier make some experiments. And I've tried this authentication cross repository. I mean, from committing from one pipeline, from one GitHub action run on repository A to repository B, and it's not the best experience in terms of authentication and of the tokens. And yeah, and I haven't found the right one, but yeah, so I was doing this investigation a little bit, but yeah, nothing more.
So the challenge is you're trying to publish the schema alongside the docs, but the schema is not in the same repository.
Yeah, exactly, because we are using Hugo, which is template, and it's pretty nice, but it doesn't have, for example, possibility to giving them or any library to give, for example, URL to other markdown to raw file and publish it as a markdown on the website. Yeah, just fetch
Yeah.
and publish it. Yeah, you can't do it in the easy way.
Yeah.
So we want just, and I want to keep schema up to date. So we want do something like this. When someone merge to the main of the schema repo, pipeline will take this schema from this repo and commit it to the repo with documentation, and
Okay.
this documentation repo will rebuild Hugo, and we
Yeah.
will have it embedded and always up to date, because we don't want to have
Yeah.
intermediate time when we do it
Yeah.
manually,
It's
because
got to be automated. For what it's
exactly.
worth, we got an internal product that's got a very similar problem, and the other thing that we wanted to do was also put the versions in. So what we do in the pages in the pages repository is we actually just loop. We basically pull the other repository down, clone it in the build script, and then loop through all the tags and generate and basically check it out on each tag. It's not super amazing, but it works. And then just on each tag, we just copy the JSON schema to a directory with that tag in its name. And then if you push to the JSON schema, all we do is we just tell the other project to rebuild itself.
I see.
So
And
we
you
don't
have all
commit it
versions and
across.
all
Yeah, we
documentation,
actually
all the
fetch it.
history.
Yeah, we go fetch it on the pages build of the other side. So
Mm.
just another way to do it. But
Yeah,
that
it's
it's
good
weird.
to
We had a
think
very
about.
similar problem with this exact same thing.
Yeah,
Because it's also nice to keep the version, like some sort of versioning in the URL, because then people can, I don't know if you're already doing that, because people will reference, a specific version, and if there's a break
Yeah.
or whatever, it might get
yeah,
confusing.
for sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And I think it could solve like the
Yeah, because you
that
don't have to push. You don't like that gets
need-
quite tricky from one repository, like committing changes to another. I mean, you can do it, but it's tricky.
yeah, exactly. Huh?
Yeah.
We should experiment with that one. So, yeah. And do we have anything else to discuss? Like, I don't know.
I have this issue about resolving inconsistency in labels example. Yeah,
Ish.
you can open it. There is the issue and there is the pull request. Yeah, you have it.
This one.
Yeah, that basically we want to be flexible. There was there was a discussion about it. Should we support multiple values for key or just a single one? And we decided to go with multiple values per key, but also with the shorthand syntax that you don't need to put the list when you want to one value, but something like this you can use. Like this user impacting true, but it's not true in a boolean mean it's true, it's a tag, right? It's a tag. And here you can have also like this, the rationale of why we want to allow, for example, having multiple key values for single key is that some systems allows, and why it would be beneficial for OpenSLO to allow. For example, let's imagine that OpenSLO is a part of some service discovery mechanism and it pulls data about services from multiple systems. For example, from, let's say, from Datadog once and from some kind of the Kubernetes second, right? Because, and they can have under the same key, they can have different values and how we should override it and some logic and so on. So maybe just leave two of them and, implementator can do whatever he wants. So this is it, and I prepare a simple pull request. You can open it. Yeah, this is the pull request. Yeah, the pull request that makes this example more straightforward. And I checked, and there is the issue in Oslo, our converter tool, to support multiple values, and we can achieve it in Go that under the hood it always be the list, and we can custom and marshal it into the single value. Just put a single value in the list, multiple values, put multiple, and we can make it seamless for the user. Yeah, here is the comment that describes how to do it. Yeah, so it's not hard, and yeah, this is my rationale. And yeah, Ken has some doubts. Unfortunately, he's not here today, but maybe he will watch our this. So yeah, and yeah, so this is like this housekeeping.
This sounds like fun thing to do.
To implement, yeah, because I'm not breaking here the V1 of OpenSLO, because it was something that it is something that it was proposed in the original spec, and yeah, but it wasn't understandable. Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to experiment with that one.
Perfect.
I can even assign myself in here. Yep. Cool. So it won't break anything, and it will be easier for everyone to use it. Nice.
Yeah. So this is it basically, I think, for today. One thing, Andrew, I don't know if you've seen this. We have a blog on OpenSLO. We have a blog section on our website, and we highly encourage people to write something. You can just make the PR. There is description on GitHub how to make a PR and publish your content on it. When you have something, some thoughts, some discussion, some whatever worth to share, we highly encourage for writing something down and putting it, or yeah.
Okay.
For example, some kind, maybe it can be even done, for example, some kind of the description or context for a SLOConf talk or something like that, to have it write it down.
I mean, the SLOConf talk that I did last year, it's about SLOs, but it's not really. It doesn't. Unfortunately, we don't use OpenSLO yet. And it's always one of those things we're gonna change to as soon as we can. But you know, I'm guessing this would rather be focused on OpenSLO posts, or yeah.
In the real world of SLO post, basically. You know, it doesn't need to be the specific usage of OpenSLO or something, but for example, how to think about SLO, how to think about reliability, what it enables in your organization, and so on and so on.
Yeah. Okay. I could try carve out some time for that. Cool.
If you are like new to Hugo or don't know how to approach it.
No, Hugo. Yeah, I've used Hugo. Yeah, and it's basically just Markdown. Really.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to say, like, you can ping me on Slack if you've got any problems, but I think if you're familiar with it, so it's fine.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
okay, excellent. I will. I mean, I need to kind of find time, but I will try and do that, because it's a nice thing to post about. I will also mention it to Bob, my co-worker, who would love to come to these meetings, but the time doesn't really work for him. Who's the big SLO advocate at GitLab.
So are these meetings too late or too, I don't know?
It's like so he's him and myself are both European hours. And they are quite late if you got kids and you got to put kids down. That's one of the reasons why I miss it as much as I do, because it's 8 o'clock bedtime.
And basically it's the same for us, because we are also we are in the European time zone. We're Central European time, so for us it's quite late. But on the other hand, for folks from West Coast,
it's early.
because from East Coast it's easier with 6 hours of difference, but from West Coast, so we have it Yeah. Here is now 7:30, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's half 8 in South Africa now as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So maybe we should discuss a little bit and check about moving it a
yeah.
little
I
bit.
mean, it's what's one thing that works. It makes it a little bit tricky with timing, but is to kind of move it around a bit. So
Mm-hmm.
some
Yeah.
early and some that will be just American time zone appropriate and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
We will see. And yeah, and we can propose, we can have this discussion maybe, or some kind of the poll even on Slack
yeah, yeah,
to
because
your
yeah, great,
preferences.
cool.
Yeah. So I think it's that I know that there was a Wayne wrote that he prepared his example because we've got examples in
Yeah,
OpenSLO for.
because we have also in OpenSLO, we have because some features are not so obvious to newcomers, and we have some kind of the example folders which are designed to explain based on real world scenario particular OpenSLO configuration.
Yeah.
And and you have ready configuration with the whole story when it's something like that is feasible.
Yeah.
So yeah, and of course we encourage for contributing, for reading. Probably we will also link it somehow to the main documentation to make it more discoverable.
I think it is linked already.
To the main
Ah.
documentation, I mean on the OpenSLO.com when
Oh,
we
yeah.
figure it
Sure.
out. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. So the main idea was to have some place that if you're new to OpenSLO, you can just copy paste some example, maybe tweak it up a little bit, and have it working. Yeah, and have like better understanding when use some kind of feature. Yeah, so I know Wayne prepared some one, but he's not here, so I guess he will tell about it to us next month because we've
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, or maybe he'll make a PR and we will discuss it. Yeah,
Yeah.
on the GitHub asynchronously.
Yeah.
So I think thank you guys for this meeting, and we will
Nice to
finish.
see you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
You too.
You
And
Bye.
too. Bye.
see you next month.